Hey, it's Ashley, Keller Williams Real Estate in Everett. Your North Everett monthly market update is coming at you. Stay tuned. Hey, it's Ashley, Keller Williams Real Estate in Everett. So look, we're here for the monthly market update. We're going to look at what happened in October. And I'm going to kind of give you my take on where I think the market's going and how things are going. But if you have not yet, before I get started, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe, like the video, and we're going to get straight to the data. Here we go. So let's start with the data. We're going to start with Everett as a whole. New listings were down from last month and last year, just sort of pointing to the continued struggle we've had with low inventory for the last few years. And we're going to carry that into this holiday season, it looks like. Pending sales are about the same as they were this time last year. But man, if you look at the median sales price, what a jump, up $85,000 from a year, $85,000 from a year ago. I mean, geez Louise. I mean, if you didn't buy last year and you didn't buy the year before, man, are you just feeling like, geez, I got bad timing? I mean, you might be. So like if you've been considering a downgrade or an upgrade, this might be the time to collect that equity and transfer it into your next property, right? I mean, here's the thing. The issue is that, the house prices aren't going to be going down. And if you're looking at getting something larger for your family, it may be better to act now than to wait another year, right? Because projections, we're projecting another double-digit year next year as far as housing price increases. Next slide. So now we're going to dive directly into North Everett. The number of homes sold is approaching the same number that we sold last year. We sold about 399 last year. And right now we're at 381. So, I mean, I think we're going to easily exceed that 399. And, here's the thing that's kind of note here, right? Like, we've really been looking for that extra inventory, and it looks like we were granted a little extra inventory. And I mean, I think if you ask a buyer shopping the market right now or any of their agents, I mean, it does not feel like we have extra inventory. It really, the buyer demand has just pretty much squashed that, right? I mean, and maybe it's just going to be a trivial amount. Maybe we only end up with maybe at the end of the year, by the end of the year, maybe we've sold, I don't know, maybe 430 properties, right? So we added a few extra houses every month, but wow. Oh, wow. All right. Let's compare last year in October to this year, October in North Everett. And what we see is that new listings are up slightly this year compared to last year. And pending sales are way up. Look at that. They're up 68%. And the number of sold properties, I mean, it's pretty much about the same. I mean, it looks like it's a lot less, but we're talking about, quite a few, just like 2 or 3 less, right? And the homes that are available for sale are down. Look at that. I mean, they're almost half as much. They're decreased almost half as much. And you can really see that reflected in the month supply. So the month supply is 0.4 of a month, which is roughly 2 weeks. And just to remind you about what that means is if we stop putting inventory on today, it would take us about 2 weeks to cycle through all the houses that are available today. And that's all we would have. And, it's just an indicator of how strong of a seller's market we have, right? Like, remember that a balanced market is nearly 26 weeks of inventory, And so the seller's market just continues on. Now look at this. This is just so dramatic. Okay, man, the real winner is this, the difference in median sales price. October 2020, we were right around $400,000. And this year we're at 505,000. And the year-to-date increases are about 23%. So look, you might be thinking about pulling some equity out or selling. And if you're considering doing something like that, reach out to me for a consult. So, I mean, I don't really know. There's not really much to say about this, right? Like, we knew prices were going to increase. If you go back and look at my market reports from last year, we thought we would have like 10% increase, but here we are with 23%. All right, so let's look at this. This is kind of like a nice trend. We've got almost 3 years of data here. And you can see that, if you've been waiting for prices to decrease, I mean, you're probably going to just have to keep waiting. I mean, you can definitely see that there are like some declines that are maybe associated with seasonality that are happening. I mean, the trend really suggests that we're going to kind of keep seeing value increases. And most of the big companies are projecting those increases to continue into 2022 and 2023. I mean, the only thing, the only thing that may, help buyers in the end, it's going to be a bit of a double-edged sword when I mention it here is, interest rates are increasing on mortgages. And so, obviously, if that happens, maybe there are going to be some people that are just kind of knocked out of the market completely, right? Because, I mean, you can see like we're like right around $500,000, as a median sales price. And there's price points that have just completely gone away. I mean, like, you're not going to get a house for like, a decent house for like 300,000 anymore, right? Those houses are gone. Yep. Let's look at slide 6. Let's look at where prices are going. I predicted like all year last year that we would be above that 450. And we did get to the point where we were above that 450 and exceeded it really. At the seasonal peak, we were around 550. And right now we're kind of hovering around that $500,000 mark. And I think that we're going to continue to see that go on, right? I mean, if you took advantage of the market 2 to 4 years ago, you've likely increased your equity around $150,000, which is awesome. Super duper. And, going into next year, like if I had to kind of put my get my little crystal ball out, which I don't have, I suspect that we will see increases continue. And into next year, probably the seasonal peak will be probably closer to that 600,000. It's going to be between 550 and 600,000 at the high. And then probably we're going to kind of hover around that $500,000 to $550,000 mark all through next year. All right, well, let's take a look at competition. All right, so we're going to look at the percent of list price received. We are definitely down from the seasonal high, right? The seasonal high was around 10% over asking price. Now we're at 3.2% above asking. And, looking at historical trends, right? I mean, it's very likely that we will see this maybe decrease a bit more, right? I mean, if we look at kind of like a quote unquote normal year, 2019, right? Like in November and December, it dropped quite a bit, right? So it's a good time to be buying, right? It's a good time to be buying. I mean, we still have quite a bit of buyer demand. I do know that there are still properties that are having multiple offers, right? It really kind of depends, right? Like, how competitively priced is the property? Where's it located? What's the condition, right? And so, in my opinion, I mean, I think we have great opportunities for both buyers trying to get into a home. And, there's also a really good opportunity for people that want to sell their home at this time of year because there are fewer available properties on the market, right? Fewer available options on the market, which means, you may be able to command that higher asking price. All right. Lastly, I've been tracking this. This is the ever popular and elusive 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. I mean, here's the thing. We just don't have a lot of them up here. We have a lot of old houses and many of them just have 1 bath. And if they do have another bathroom, it's like in a garage or something weird. All right. But needless to say, here we are, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Median sales price is down from last month to $492,500. And there were 6 available options. But, you know, it's still hanging around that 500,000. I mean, if you're coming to this market and you're going to think you're going to come into North Everett and try to pick up a 3-bed, 2-bath, I mean, I think it would be fair to say that that budget needs to be around 500,000. Because I mean, you can see that we had at some points in the year where that the cost of that 3.2 was, you know, up into the high fives, up into the high 500,000 range. So, and I think that's pretty typical. I would expect that. I would expect that. All right. So that was the data. Here's the thing. You know, many people are kind of like waiting to see what the market does, right? Because it's been so hot for so long. And man, I got to tell you, like, I don't really see any signs of this slowing down. You know, some of the big firms out there, like Zillow, for example, has like a 1-year forecast here in North Everett of 12.3% increase. Now, I just want to have you keep in mind that if you go back to my market updates from last year, Zillow was forecasting, you know, the same thing, 8% increases over the next year and all that stuff. And you know what we ended up with? This is almost 27%, you know, more than 25% increase. It was like 27.9%. And so, you know, they could be wrong both ways. I mean, obviously, you know, maybe they took a more conservative number, or they felt like they were being conservative, right? Because historically, real estate has only appreciated 3, 4, 5% a year. But, you know, that might not be the case here coming into the next year. So if you are thinking about buying a house, or you're thinking about you own a house and you want to upgrade or downgrade, you know, now is probably the time to start planning that and getting it going. And, you know, the biggest issue is, you know, what's it going to be like on the buying side, right? Like, the selling side is going to be no problem, right? You're going to have no issue selling your property at this point, right? But the thing is going to be finding that next property, and there's so much competition. It's like, you know, it's just very challenging. So I think if you're in that position, you've been on the fence, I think it's time to kind of get off the fence and get to work. If you have any questions for me, please reach out for a consult. Otherwise, please like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you again next month. Take care.